I was like a really good player.
Just the appreciation of basketball at all levels.
Yeah, I'm a player. I feel like I just gotta get on the court. You know, I feel like if I get the opportunity to get on the court, that's where the name comes from. Everyday guys and the everyday conversations we have.
Welcome to Everyday Guys Podcast, episode 11. We're excited to have Tyson Lama. He played for me for how many years? 3 years?
3.
3 years. He's now at Queen's University. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a little. You and I have had a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
Fuck, over the years, man. A lot of conversations. Like I remember those like car ride conversations, like grade 12, grade 11, just asking about just like everything. You're like one of those like curious guys that wanted to know how everything works when it comes to recruiting and like even the mental stuff. Like we had a lot of conversations, and it's kind of weird for me, to be honest, to talk to you like this when you're like done. Like you've kind of achieved your goal in a way.
Yeah.
You know, but I guess we can talk about how you got into basketball. Like when you and I think I met you for the first time when you were young too, like grade 8, 7, even younger. But how did you even get into basketball? Like what makes you want to play basketball?
Yeah, so when I was younger, my brother played basketball.
Yeah.
My dad played football. So I always liked football. I was a bigger kid. I liked hitting people, and then I grew, got like skinny, got to like 6'2" in grade 8 or something. But basketball was like brought to me by my brother, and he worked really hard at basketball. He's only like 5'11", like maybe 6 feet, but so I got the height, but he worked, like I saw him work so hard at basketball, like, from a young age. Yeah, bouncy, could dribble, like I don't know. I wish I could have played with him, but he showed me kind of like the hard work and like just how much like love he had for it, and I was like, okay, obviously this is fun. And I kind of found out myself, and then even just like I'd go and watch him train, and guys like Luka, Coleman, and all them, and I feel like I asked you a lot about those guys because like I looked up to them when I was younger, and I was like, oh my God, like how they're doing, like their ball handling in like grade 8 and everything like that. And like, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like, and like they're going to be at the places that they got to, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like that's why I asked you a lot of questions like that, because I knew you were close with them, and it was basically like talking with like LeBron's coach in my mind at the time. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. I mean, like you were, when we started this program, prep thing, 4 years ago now, you were the first guy I went after, and I told you that too. One, because obviously, I thought you were a talented kid, but two, I thought like people had wrong ideas about you. But that was when, like, after grade 10, right?
Yeah.
After grade 10,
Grade
after
10
COVID.
somewhere. It was the Canada.
Yeah.
I had the U16 Canada team.
Yeah. And the things I was hearing a lot about you was like you're cocky, you're arrogant, and you don't want to work hard, but that's not really the kid that I knew. And I hate it, man. I hate it when coaches and adults talk about kids in that way, when sometimes, a lot of the times, it's not true. Like I feel like these adults have maybe 1 or 2 bad experiences with the kids, and just make a judgment out of it. Yeah. And you're grade 10. Yeah. Grade 10, like 15 years old, and you're getting judged by a bunch of adults, oh, you're arrogant and this and that. Like, to me, that didn't really sit with me, And then obviously you turned out to be, probably one of the best leaders and captains I've ever coached, But Like, how do you think that even came about? Like, you're the, you know, when people were like kind of judging you in a bad way.
I feel like it was just because I was pretty good when I was younger.
Yeah.
I feel like even though like my style of play, you'd never think that's a cocky kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like trying to make the right decision always. Like I feel like I've done that from like a young age, like trying to be like someone who knows how to play above the years. But yeah, I think it's just because I was good and like I was having fun with basketball.
Yeah.
I feel like all of those guys, like I made that U14 Team Ontario with like Jacob and Baraka and all those guys. And they were playing U play. Some guys were playing Canada Elite, and then like they all went to prep school in grade 9.
Yeah.
And I was talking to some schools in like Boston and could have like paid a lot or whatever. I don't know. We never really got to like scholarships or anything like that, but I knew like I didn't want to move away from home at that time. Like that just wasn't the best thing for me. So maybe I did have a little bit of like cockiness, being like, oh, I'm just playing locally when the guys that are my level are in the States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe I had that in grade 9. Maybe it was like masking because I'm self-conscious that all those guys are there. You know what I mean? So giving them some credit, but I never felt like I was a cocky, like, especially basketball player when I come to the team and stuff too. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you people tend to like hide their insecurities a little bit by just being just brash and just outrageous, like just, you know. And then I think we had, like, when you guys were younger, grade 11, grade 12, we had a few guys, I would say, that had tendencies like that. And then that's something that, I mean, me personally, like as a coach, and then spending like a lot of time with you guys, that's something that I kind of saw through, you know. And then, but to me, like that's sometimes better to work with because at least you can like fake it. Yeah. Right. At least you can fake it. Whereas some guys, when they don't have the confidence at all, they just like, they don't talk. They're like very insecure. Like you can tell, right? But for me as a coach, like at least if you have the ability to like fake it, you can turn that energy into like a real confidence. Yeah. You know, and I think you had a little bit of that too, right? Like growing up, I still remember the grade 12, like what was it? What was that game? Home game, Jay Addison game. Yeah. I remember. Right, like I think we were struggling at the time. Like we were losing a few games, and you know, Jay Addison, they were a good team. They come into our building, we're like killing them. Yeah, up 20 in the fourth. 20 in the fourth quarter, and then like I felt like none of our guys knew how to act. Yeah. Including myself sometimes, like, right? Including myself if I look back at it. Because we're like, oh, we're beating this team that we're kind of not supposed to beat by 20. Like, we're killing them. Yeah. And then I remember you guys were just like going crazy, like just like hyper. Yeah. Right? Because maybe we were just, you know, hiding our insecurities. Maybe we didn't know how it feels to be there, at that stage, and then we lost, right, in overtime. But like when you guys, you know, you guys went through all those growing pains, and then grade 13, I felt like that's when you guys were like just like had real confidence. You know, like I don't know how you guys, I mean, you were in the locker room with all those guys. Like, did you feel that that, you know, for yourself and your teammates when you were in the locker room? Or
no, for sure. Like, I think we all kind of felt that for sure. And I think the only way you like learn how to like handle those situations is by being in them. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you said, the growing pains, and like we're all there. So the next time we're up 20, like it's like, okay, relax. You know what I mean? Like everything. I feel like I'm still learning that, like at the university level with specific situations. Like guys like Luca and Isaac, like our older veteran guys, have been like on the court for a long time. Like they're just always just calm. You know what I mean? Like they always know kind of what to do in the right situation. But yeah, I feel like even in grade 13, it was like the start of the game felt different. Like we were like, okay, we put in all this work for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like we've played these hard teams. We played guys that are like in the NBA now, like high major D1. It's like, okay, like now we're playing a couple grade 11s that are supposed to be good. Like we're going to beat them. You know what I mean? And then you come with that confidence and you play, and just having confidence in like the guys around you. Like I see how much work they're putting in. I'm putting in this work. Like we should win on paper. You know what I mean? So giving that like just the work straight up as the confidence.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go back to the confidence questions, because we have a lot to talk about there. But like when you decided to go to prep, that was after COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have, that was like we talked about grade 11, going to grade 11. So you knew you had 2 or 3 years. Did you have like a goal in mind specifically, or you just wanted to, improve and see?
My goal was always like Division 1. But I feel like I just wanted to, I didn't have a goal of like how high. I knew I wanted to like get a scholarship or something like that. And like everyone's saying D1. Yeah. So, it was my dream, like playing in front of big crowds or whatever, like March Madness. But I think when I decided, it was just like, let's see how far I can take it. And whenever I thought of it like that, like during those 3 years here, I feel like that's when I was playing my best. Yeah. And like just getting better at like a faster rate is just like, let's see how far, not trying to like specify how I'm training to the goals.
And I think you and I talked a lot about validation. Remember?
Yeah.
I think your stance was a little bit like, okay, I worked this hard, and then if there is some validation, if there's some recognition by other people, it could be scouts or Division 1 coaches, whatever, then it kind of makes you want to work harder, or makes you want to believe that I can get to that goal. And my stance always was like, there shouldn't be any validation, right? There shouldn't be any validation. Like the validation that matters is honestly just from you, like knowing that you tried your best, knowing that you every training session you're like working your ass off, right? And because I think we had a conversation like when you were grade 12 too.
Yeah.
At what point did that kind of change, like your mindset?
I feel like it honestly didn't change until I like signed with Queens. Like until I knew like even grade like 13, and I was getting some like talking to some schools and stuff like that, getting some validation. Like didn't have a lot. I kind of just needed to like swallow my pride. You know what I mean? I feel like I wanted that recognition because I wanted to like know like all this training is like just a little bit, like all this training is like leading somewhere. You know what I mean? But it's just always about like your mindset. And I think like now I'm having a lot of fun with basketball, like most in a long time, just because the stress is off. I just get to worry about like winning a game, or like how can I contribute to my team as much as possible, rather than like prep. It's like, oh, the nerves, there's a coach in the building, we're from Canada, we just drove 10 hours, you know what I mean? Like I have to perform, and then it's like, okay, you can't put all of your like mindset into just the game.
Just like focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Talking about those things, like you obviously, like everyone in our program, like every single one in our program, you've had some tough times as well.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's not playing as much, whatever it is, like training. We train a lot, right? We trained a lot, right?
Yeah.
When you have those tough moments, did you ever think to yourself, oh, like, I don't really want to do this? Or when you had these tough times, like, how did you deal with these tough times, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like for sure, I remember talking to the guys about it, like we'd all say, like sometimes Like in winter, like you wake up, it's like Thursday, you just did like 3 2-a-days in a row, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just like, you have that thought in the morning, like, damn, do I really want to do this? Especially like, I remember talking to Luke about it because he's also a Burlington guy. Like we see all of our friends, like some of the things that help like tune out the noise about prep school is like you're especially this one is like you're not with like your friends, it's just basketball players, you know what I mean? Obviously they become your friends and brothers, but like I'd see, like I'd hang out with my friends after dinner for a little bit, and then I'll be hanging out. It's like, okay, no, I have to go like eat and go to bed at like 9:30 because I'm getting up at 6. You know what I mean? So I definitely thought about that, and I think just the way that was combated was just like my support system with my family, then even just the team. I feel like each year had its own set of unique things. Like grade 11 is like, oh, this is really hard. And then kind of post grad, it's like, oh man, like all the chips are in now. You know what I mean? Like taking another year, like let's really go for it.
Yeah.
Like, was this the right decision? You start thinking, you know what I mean? But it's like, you're too far in now. So.
Was there any like specific moment with, I guess it could be with me too, right? Like, where you're just like, oh, like I'm in a rut. Sometimes you probably think, oh, you should be playing a lot more. That's what a lot of basketball, like most basketball players think. Was there like a specific moment where when you had those thoughts?
For sure. I think it was definitely like I was pretty good at like looking at myself, like looking in the mirror what I could do better.
Yeah.
So I feel like the hard times were kind of like beating myself up if I'm like not hitting shots or just like playing bad, like beating myself up on it rather than just like working hard.
Yeah.
So I think more than that, like anything, like I would say like in grade 11, it wasn't like, oh, I think I should be starting over this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, no, like you're not doing this, like you shouldn't be starting. So like work harder so you can get to that point. You know what I mean? And through the years, I think I kind of just like trusted that. We can talk about that now. I know you wanted to ask that. No, but just like I remember like grade 13, I was like, okay, Augustus was like a main scorer on our team. Augustus and Dom were kind of the guys. And then I was ready to kind of take a step in like a scoring role. You know, like with the core guys that were here since grade 11, and then we brought a bunch of talent in.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like, I remember getting really frustrated after training camp because that was when I was like working really hard, like working twice a day, every day, like easy, like getting up with Steph, like being the first ones in sprints. And I felt like I wasn't like touching the ball as much as I wanted to because we didn't have that like hierarchy of like older players, like veterans and stuff.
They're all
just like everyone the same age.
Yeah.
So I remember that was kind of the most clear to me because it was probably the most recent, like getting over that rut. And it was just like believing that we could all be successful, I think is what I had to get over. Is like, okay, I might only get 5 to 7 shots a game, but like, it's not like everyone, like maybe Dom got like 12, 13 shots, but like everyone's kind of taking that same amount. Like everyone's taking a smaller piece so that everyone can be successful.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up 2 good points. One, nobody, like, when you go back to like looking yourself in the mirror, nobody does that. Like, not a lot of people do that, right? Look yourself in the mirror and be like, what could I have done better? Because I told you guys too, like after losing a game or whatever it is, that's the first thing that I think about too, is like, what could I have done better, right? Like, because I mean, we've had a lot of success, but also a lot of, you know, bad experiences too.
Yeah.
And you go like, oh, what could I have done better? But I feel like not a lot of kids playing basketball think that way.
Yeah.
Right? It's about coaches, it's about their teammates, it's about the system, whatever it is. And you see these kids just bouncing left and right, right, program to program. And that's something that I think a lot of you guys have done really well, was kind of like self-reflection. right? And then the second part that you talked about shots, because you weren't the only one that thought that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Even, Dom, you could say he taking a lot of shots, but remember, he didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, he was saying, oh, like, I'm not getting enough opportunities, and everyone kind of felt that way. But I can't really pinpoint, like, what kind of turned you guys around.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a moment, I think that's when we went to, like, the Fort Erie tournament, right? But everyone was feeling that way.
Yeah.
You're all grade 13s. Now it's time to really, like, you don't have that much time.
Yeah.
Like, if time's running out, and then everyone, I could feel it. Like, I could feel that everyone is feeling that way. But was there a specific, like, turnaround point from you guys' perspective?
I feel like it kind of just meshed into it. Like I like you said, I feel like everyone was feeling that, like, the pressure, and I think it was a new group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just getting closer with everyone kind of changes it, because now it's like, okay, now Ewan and I, like, he's not the same guy that I'm seeing, like, with and knowing him, like, the first 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, we're teammates, let's win, but like I want to make sure that I get my dream, and then that turns into, oh my God, I love seeing Ewan go for like 12, 13 points at, like, in the States, because I see how hard he works, and, like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
It changes into that, and then it's like, okay, everyone's hyping each other up and stuff like that. And I also think that's what helped all of us be successful in our, like, early college careers up until this point.
Yeah.
Like, that was like a college type, like, environment. Like,
right.
you're not getting 15 shots your freshman year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, you guys, everyone that we had knew how to come off the bench.
Yeah.
Knew how to not play.
Yeah.
Because that's a skill too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knew how to not play a lot, but also be really engaged in the game. I don't know. I think that's something that what we try to do a lot of, like, consciously, was, like, put you guys into situations that you're not really comfortable, right? Put you into situations where you don't feel the greatest, but how do you still have an impact? Like, how do you still have, like, winning qualities?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm experiencing that now as a coach too, like, with some of these kids, like, they're quote unquote starters, and then put them on the bench for no reason sometimes, just to see, like, how they react. And then they don't react well to it. They're like, oh, like, there are all kinds of thoughts, right? All kinds of thoughts in their head. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what is this? Like, I'm used to starting. Like, this doesn't feel right. And when you have those thoughts, obviously you're not going to play well.
Yeah.
And chances are, when you go to college, you're not going to start right away.
Oh yeah.
Right? You're not going to start right away. And that to me is one of the bigger reasons why people fail at the next level, is because they don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
They don't know how to deal with, like, not having everything perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you guys are doing well because a lot of you have kind of experienced, like, both ends of the stick.
For sure.
Right? But up until last year, you went to prep. Now you're in university. Like, now you're experiencing, I'm sure, all kinds of different stuff, right? On both academically and on the basketball court. But knowing what you know now, like, you're halfway through the first year at Queens, knowing what you know now, is there any type of, like, advice, or is there any type of, things you would talk to kids about when it comes to playing prep, like what to look for in prep school, what to look for in basketball programs in general?
I think just going to a place that's like development. You know what I mean? Like, get to develop you as a player, obviously, but then obviously just going to a coach that cared. Like, I knew you. Like I always say, I knew what Z were about. I knew like the type of stuff you guys ran, like where you've brought your players, like, and how you did it. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like a weird, like, oh, they have connections. It was like, no, these are like the guys that are gonna like work you the hardest. You know what I mean? So just like committing to that. I think set me up, like change some chemistry in my brain of like becoming a harder worker, like just saying, okay, like when I committed, it's like when that happened, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna work really hard, like we're gonna grind. So I think just trying not to fall into the trap of all the prep schools nowadays. And honestly, like there's also no rush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there isn't like Dom went to prep school same time as me. Like imagine if Dom went to prep school in grade 9, it probably wouldn't have like worked out for him the same. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like maybe he'd be at the same place he was, maybe he wouldn't. Or like even like Jay, you know what I mean? So I feel like so many kids go and they're doing these intense practices, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's like you probably shouldn't. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do that in grade 9. Like how Jacob's running these kids. Like I would have quit for sure. You know what I mean? So, man, just go in the right spot.
Just like mentally for it or not. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we say to these kids too. Like, usually it's the grade 9s that quit the most.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Right? So I think one thing that we're really transparent is like, yeah, like we're really gonna work.
Yeah.
So if you're not mentally ready, you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Right? And they always go back and think about it, and a lot of them come to a conclusion of, oh, like I really want to do this. But sometimes honestly they go back, spend 2 or 3 days thinking about it, thinking about the schedule, thinking about the workload. They come back and be like, yeah,
that's what I did. That's literally what I did. That's what I did in grade 9 when those schools wanted. I said, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
No, like that's real, right? Because when you're ready, you know. When you're ready, you can kind of feel it, right? But I also think like people underestimate like how much we work.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, a lot of these kids now, they just look at the phone and they look at social media, highlight film, this and that. They're like, oh, that's cool. And then I want to do that. But they don't see the 98% that's behind the scenes. And that's like, we weren't really about social media, and we weren't really about, you know, just lying about stats and boasting this and that. It was more geared towards, let's get you guys better. Right? But honestly, like looking back, I don't know, like I'm not sure how many guys and how many groups that I'll be able to coach in the future that was like you guys. Because I mean, just to talk about you, like your parents were amazing. Your parents were just, I know sometimes, you know, they would obviously have some things that they didn't like, but that was never communicated with me. It was never communicated with me. They just believed in everything that I do. Right? Then it's hard. I know you have parents like that. So maybe it doesn't feel like, you know, it's special. But honestly, like that is probably one of the biggest challenges as a coach, is having parents that, you know, might not know enough, but then they want to complain about everything. Right? It just doesn't, they don't let you do your job. Right? But, you know, if you look at it from their perspective, they might look at a coach that, you know, that looks like he doesn't care. Right? So, I mean, there's no answers to it, but one thing I'll say about your group is that, like, your parents push you guys
Mm.
as much as I wanted you guys to be pushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I think that was a big thing. Like I don't know how, like I don't know if you want to talk about like your relationship with your dad when it comes to basketball, because honestly, some parents push kids way too hard.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of it's a fun relationship, me and my dad in basketball, because you know he's a football player, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like he was like training me from a young age. Like I remember we'd go like shoot, but he'd kind of just like rebound or something, or he'd try to teach me something about layups, and I'm like, I don't know if that's right. You know, you just do this. But yeah, just both my parents, but especially my dad, just because of all the like driving he did for AAU and like making sure I was eating well. Like I remember I was eating chicken, rice, and broccoli every day. You know what I mean? Just to try to build muscle and stuff. But yeah, like they just all the belief that they had in me and all the like excitement they had that I was pursuing something like that made it easy. And it's just another like distraction cut out. You know what I mean? I feel like I always tell people like what this place did was cut out the like excuses. It's like what's your excuse? Like you have the gym time all the way here, like school, like it's a small class, like you can ask Miss Dempsey any question you want, you know what I mean? And like I remember having to break through with stuff. It's just like what, you're just gonna sit on your phone or like do schoolwork, like, or just keep sleeping. Like there's no Steph gives you no excuse because he said, okay, I'll be here at 7:30 every morning with no extra payment. I'll be here, and like works his ass off and like works harder than you probably, taking like bumps from like 4 guys. You know what I mean? Like there was no excuse to not work hard. And even like the culture we built, everything like that. But I also wanted to say, because you brought up like starting and not starting, like something I'm going to tell a lot of people when they ask me about like my high school career is I'm going to bring up like Deshay, Ewan. Like I started all year. You know what I mean? Like Bruno, we had a bunch of like really talented 4s, and Bruno was kind of starting. Deshay and Ewan came off the bench, and they're at the Division 1 level, and I'm U Sports, and I'm not saying U Sports is bad, but by any means, I love U Sports, but like they just on paper got to a higher place than me, and they were coming off the bench. You know what I mean? And as they should, those guys were great, talented guys, and I give all the credit to them, because I don't know if I could have come off the bench and let that hurt my ego. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up. You know what I mean? Keep that a fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the bigger reasons why you guys work so hard in practice was because you were basically being evaluated every practice.
Yeah.
Right? Now I remember grade 12 when we started the season, like, no, even grade 13, like some of our best players didn't start.
Yeah.
Like some of our best players on paper did not start because they just they didn't care enough in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had an idea that, like I'm good, so I'm gonna play no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I would say, I don't know if you disagree, but I would say it was pretty fair in that way, right? Where players that didn't play as much could really work themselves, and then work themselves up and play a lot, and then play a significant role. And players who played a lot and had significant roles already could also go down.
Yeah, for sure.
Lose.
For sure.
Right? Then maybe, I don't know, you tell me, like, I don't know if that's why our practices were so competitive. I don't know.
I think for sure it's because it's like, especially later in the years when you build that bond, it's hard because you want to see this guy win, but like you're also competing for like the spot at the end of the day. And then it just like builds that culture of competitiveness every practice, but still like not like you're getting into fights. You know what I mean? It's just like, he got me today. Like, you know what I mean? Like he had me today. Like I want to get in tomorrow and like make sure he doesn't get me tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because I want to play. I want to whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
And the difference between like fake work and real work.
Yeah.
right? Fake work to me is I'm gonna put in extra work in front of the coach, and that's gonna make him play me more. Versus the real work is, doesn't matter who's watching, like I'm just gonna put in the time in the gym so I can get better. So I'm gonna force him to play me, right? Because I'm just better than these other guys. And we've had, you know, you and I both know that we've had guys that wanted to work just to be seen, just to say that I'm working hard and why am I not getting all these things? Versus with a lot of you guys just focused on getting better. And, you know, if you're falling short of a goal that you had, it was like maybe I'm not doing enough, right? Maybe I'm not doing enough. Like some of you guys had it almost made you guys nervous that you weren't getting in the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like I'm missing a day.
For sure.
Like I even remember Dom like going on these like visits and stuff.
Yeah.
He just like, I don't want to take the visits. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? You don't want to take visits. He's like, what? Like I can't be in the gym. I'm like, bro, you're going on a visit to Division 1 program, man. Like, what are you talking about? He's like I gotta stay in the gym.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then it got to a point where he's like asking the Division 1 coaches if he can work out there.
Yeah.
And he worked out. Like that's how crazy you kind of have to be, right, to stay in the sport. But I don't know if a lot of people realize that, right? It's just, you know, kids wanting to get to a high level, but they don't want to work towards it. Yeah. Maybe they don't know how to work, maybe either, right? But let's transition into being at Queens, right? You chose Queens over obviously a lot of OUA youth sport programs, some, you know, NCAA schools as well. Why? What made you ultimately go to Queens?
Yeah, I remember starting to talk to them pretty seriously around like Christmas. Like I remember expressing to you that I wanted to talk to them, and you kind of talked to, I think, John or something, and I got on the phone. But yeah, just I was always a big academic guy. Like I remember I always wanted to go, like an Ivy League was my kind of goal. I wanted to follow Luca in that way, where he had a bunch of like mid majors, but he chose Harvard and stuff. So getting into you know, the Queen's Business program, it's a great program and everything like that. That was a big selling point for me and my family, especially because of how much they valued academics and stuff like that. So all the support they gave me, obviously they were part of the decision, and like how happy it made them that I was in a good like academic program as well helped. But then also just I think I went on like 3 visits to Queens because I just liked being up there with the guys. Like it was fun. They had such a great team that year. I remember Jalen and I visited when they hit the buzzer beater in the OUA. We were visiting the finals, and then that was a crazy moment. And then just even seeing the culture after. I remember we went on their senior night with like Cole Sillis, Cam Betts senior night, who are Queens legends, and just everything that staff had to say about them, and all the families being there, just seeing the culture firsthand. And like for me, like that was the kicker for sure, just being a part of that. And that's like why I really love basketball. It's kind of that brotherhood thing, and playing with your brothers and stuff like that.
What is the biggest difference between like being in high school versus university now?
Yeah, I think it's like time management, and not in the way of just like, oh, you have to manage your time, but you almost have to work smarter. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to manage your time when you don't have like a lot of schoolwork. You know what I mean? Especially post grad, you're doing like 2 classes to boost your average, so you can just like get in the gym 2-3 times a day and still have time to recover, eat properly, like relax at the end of the day. But now it's like, okay, I have a lot of homework, and we have practice every day for 2 hours, and then we have the 2 games every week. So just getting into a routine like that, and then so on the basketball standpoint, you have to work smarter by, okay, I can't tax my body. Like I can't go and work out and have like 6 hours of sleep and like train my ass off and then go practice and do that every day because I'm gonna break down. You know what I mean? So being smart with when you're doing things for recovery and stuff like that, I think had to change a lot.
And then what would you say, are there any like specific things that come to your mind that are very, very difficult about being on a university basketball team compared to like obviously prep and high school?
I guess all of them kind of come with like a benefit too. You know what I mean? There's like a flip, like playing in front of people. And like for alumni, I guess comes with a little more added pressure to like win, rather than us, like it'd just be our parents watching, right? So maybe that, but no, I think especially with Queens, it's been such a great learning experience up until this point, and such a great experience. I'm so excited for the next 4.5 years. I haven't had a lot of struggles. I feel like I was just ready for it. You know what I mean? Like that, Jalen and I both, like we were just ready for it. We went in the summer, had a great summer working hard. I think we were just prepared. I feel like for some of the rookies we have maybe that didn't go prep, what they had to learn was kind of like the vocabulary of the game and kind of like ways to look at it. Actually, I'd say I had some growing pains in terms of kind of like getting into a new system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially, it's a pretty night and day how we played at Polaris and then how we're playing at Queens.
Yeah.
Like a lot of sets, right? And then I'm not going to go into any details about Queens and how we play, but like we were a pretty set heavy team here. We like to get out and run at Queens.
Yeah.
So just learning how to play that, I think, was probably the biggest difficulty in switching that. But
yeah, I mean, as you get older, as you play more basketball, like adaptability is the biggest skill set you should have as a basketball coach and a player, right? Because you never know. Next year you might have different personnel.
Yeah,
you might play completely different.
Yeah,
but it's the people that are adapting to things really well.
Yeah,
even in coaching, right? Like people talked about one and dones at one point, and you know, now people are talking about bringing in older players to university programs and college programs. Like, if you're not able to adapt, right? And I still see so many coaches that kind of run the same thing for years. No matter who they have, right? So if they have like if their tallest guy is 6'7", which is not that tall, and I'm still gonna put him in a situation where, you know, like I would have my 7-footer, right? And to me, like, that's what people ask me all the time is like, how do you guys play? Like, what's your style? I'm like, it's different every time. Like, we might have a play or two that are very similar and they're probably the same, but it really depends on the roster you have. Like, you should see this year's team, like, play completely different than you guys, like, because we're faster, a little smaller, and whatever, right? And that's something that you as a basketball player will have to deal with a lot. Like, it's never be comfortable with just being stagnant, status quo. Like, you should always want to be adapt to like changes. You know what I mean? But knowing what you know now, you spent, what was it, 4 or 5 months in university now? 4 or 5 months? Knowing what you know now, is there anything that you wish you had done differently in high school to prepare you even better?
It's hard to say. Honestly, I haven't, like, since being at Queens, it's almost like I haven't looked back. You know what I mean? So I feel like I haven't reflected on that a lot, but probably just enjoying the process. I feel like I got pretty good at that though, like especially the last couple months, like being like, okay, I'm not going to be here every day. You know what I mean? For the past 3 years, I was like, okay, like there's Cam, I've been practicing with him. There's Jalen, like practicing with all these guys at Heel Dom, like since grade 11, like taking a breath and being like, wow, this is really cool. Like we're all talking to schools like we talked about in grade 11, kind of having that like overview of it. I think I wish I had a little more of, but yeah, it's hard to say. I think maybe like you could always go back and say, I wish I worked like a little harder, like maybe in grade 11 or like done specific things differently. Like maybe like tried to, I don't know, get out of my head and like maybe not focus on like my shot form as much as I did rather than like getting shots up, like little things like that. But I think just in general, like having as much fun as I possibly could, because that's what you're supposed to do at the end of the day, while keeping it professional.
What are some like, I guess, really important like skill sets that you learned in high school that made the transition smoother than a lot of people?
Yeah, I think just like learning how to play the right way, like learning the ins and outs in basketball. Like we did film sessions, like being able to learn from games, watching it on film. All the little things we did on the basketball side, right? Like how to execute. I feel like going from the execution style, like run a bunch of sets, to like more running up and down, playing free, was kind of an easier transition than like if I would have had to go the other way.
Right.
Because it's like slow down, like do this perfect, do this perfect, do this perfect. And then now it's kind of just like read, and we worked a bunch on that too. Like that's how your skill development is kind of always based around, is like making reads and decisions. So I feel like that was easy to make the right decisions on the basketball court. And then literally just at the end of the day, like it sounds cheesy, but just like how to work hard, like seriously, with with no distractions. Like I said, no distractions, just work hard.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you guys came in knowing what work hard even means.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's always people work hard. Everyone says, oh, I work hard. But there's levels to it.
Yeah.
Levels to everything, right? Like sometimes you might think you're going fast.
Yeah.
But you have a guy in your ear all the time like, yo, you're not going fast enough.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I am going fast.
Yeah.
But you're not,
Yeah.
right? Like there's, I think, like pushing your limit almost, right? Pushing your limit is the biggest thing. And I feel that it's important to have people around you as coaches and trainers that are always pushing you to a level where you can go harder.
Yeah.
You know, and there's way too many guys that are just content with, you know, having a good relationship with the player.
Yeah.
Right? Like just say the nice things and say things that, you know, are not going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, like, I just think it just makes you weaker.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not doing you any favor if I look at something that you're not doing good and just not saying anything.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know. It's sometimes, you know, it is difficult, right? Because it's not a comfortable moment, right? Like if I'm constantly on you all the time, and I know that you are not you're not a fan of someone just yelling at you all the time, but you still have to find a way to like get a point across.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about that, like one of our a bunch of conversations, like we said you had, like leadership and like how to be a leader in like different ways to different people and how they like receive messages. I feel like I've taken with me up until this point, especially like trying to like be like a leader even as like a rookie in the sense of kind of just like bringing energy and like doing the same thing I was doing in warm-ups, like telling guys that I think they're like awesome and like giving them confidence before the game. Like trying to like not be the like like varsity or whatever leadership role.
Step on somebody's toes.
Yeah, exactly. But more like uplifting as like the rookie, because nobody wants to hear like from rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we got great culture at Queens, but if I'm telling like a 5th-year guy, hey, like, come on, man, like you got to do this. You know what I mean? Like get on his ass. He'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like we talked about that, like getting like how to fire someone up. You know what I mean? Like maybe going after these guys, or like why are you like talking to these guys a bunch and not really these guys. Like I think this was grade 12 year when there was kind of like there was like a starting group and like a younger group, and I was like trying to fire up the younger guys more, and then you were like, well, why aren't you talking to Augie like that? Like why aren't you talking to like Luke and Dom? And I guess I was like, I don't know, they're like, I'm trying to speak for like the older guys in the sense, but it's like, no, you gotta do it the same way or different ways, but the same level to everyone, stuff like that.
No, you're right, and I think one of the reasons why you are having a successful rookie year so far, not only is it just basketball, not only is it basketball, but it's that too, intangibles.
Yeah.
Right, like you said, sometimes as a rookie, just uplifting the team, bringing energy, that's leadership.
Yeah.
That's leadership.
Yeah.
And like, even when you're not on the court, you can still impact the team in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Another thing that I'm gonna definitely tell like the younger guys here and stuff when they're asking me questions is like, everybody wants those like Twitter posts that's like breakout or like standout player at this tournament and stuff, and like the most tweets I've ever gotten was at the NPSI tournament. It was like 4 tweets in one game, and they were all about like me being like the loudest person in the gym. Like literally not one of them had like stats. Might have been like, oh, he's a good spot up shooter, like good frame, but it was all like he's got A+ like vocals, or like this guy's the loudest person in the gym. And I took a lot of pride in that, and I think like that's pretty cool to think of it. Like when I stopped caring about like how many points am I scoring and stuff like that, it's like, oh, I was getting recognition for bringing things to the team, and like people are seeing this.
Yeah.
So I think that was a cool like full circle moment. You know what I mean? Of not having to care about stats and doing the right things will get you to a good spot.
Is there any specific goal in mind for this year, and maybe in 4 years too, when you're done?
Yeah, I think start the season, I kind of wanted to be on that all rookie team. I definitely think that's obtainable. I think rookie of the year is probably off in the run from Oliver Engen, my teammate, absolutely deserving of it right now. Knock on wood, let's go, keep it going. But yeah, I think we have a great rookie class in at Queens, and we're doing well right now. So being able to represent some of those guys that maybe are doing redshirting and stuff like that, and getting a few guys on the rookie team from Queens, which I think was absolutely deserving of this year, would be pretty cool. And then yeah, I don't know, maybe being on the like defensive team later years, make my way to an OUA All-Star would be fun. But seriously, just winning, honestly, I think that's the number one thing. I want to win a championship. I saw what it did for the team firsthand, being on my visits and stuff like that. I saw like the joy that everyone had, and I saw the joy that all these guys are getting when they're getting the individual stuff, like Luka, and you know, first team All Canadian, I think last year, defensive player of the year in the country, and like he wasn't jumping around his room when he got that, but he was jumping around like the gym when they won the championship. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think we've talked about doing a lot and building on what those guys did at Queens earlier, and this rookie class kind of doing the same thing.
It's good. You never know, man.
Yeah.
Never know. But yeah, thank you. I mean, thank you for the one, obviously doing this. But two, it might sound a little cringe, but like I do have to thank you and your family a lot. Right? Because you guys just supported whatever we did. Like thick and thin, like bad times, good times, just supported us no matter what. And you know, these are things that you don't really say a lot, but honestly, it meant a lot, right? Like even even looking back at it, and when now that is done, kind of, you appreciate those moments even more,
Yeah.
right? And I say this all the time to people, is that, like, I'll always be able to coach guys that are super talented, are good at basketball, you know, will go to really, really high level and all that stuff. But I don't think that I'll ever be able to coach a guy like you, like, ever, right? Like, someone that was just, we have a guy like you, the culture is just completely different, right? And that's really rare, right? To have one individual that just changes the culture, right? Like, with your energy, with the ability to, like, uplift other people. Like, I don't know, I'd be super lucky to coach another guy like you, but I don't think I'll be able to, because I haven't done it until you, right? But obviously, things, the qualities that you have, intangibles that you have, will always, help you into the right directions and make you more successful, man, on basketball court and in life as well, in your career. So obviously we'll still follow you, and now we gotta go train. So
Yeah.
let's do it.
Appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.